Welcome to 5 Minute Monster Views. I am your host, Monster D, and today do I have a most thunderous treat for you? Yes, I have with me as a guest the guitarist and leader and one of the masterminds of A Sound of Thunder, the one, the only, Josh Schwartz. Hello, Josh.
Hello. Thank you for welcoming to your me to your realm.
Thank you for being here. And might I ask you just one question?
Of course,
Are you in the mood for a monster?
I am ready for a monster.
Well, good, because I think there was one behind you, and I'm not talking about the Lord Doom.
Oh, geez. Will she bite me? No. I think I'm safe for now.
Well, safe for now, but we shall see. For this is my magic monster maker, and with this device, I shall extract from your very own mind a one-of-a-kind monster drawing, and do so in 5 minutes or less. And we shall see. But all I need from you to do now is to give me a number between 1 and 7. I'm sorry, 1 and 8. Let me not leave all the numbers out.
6.
6. Excellent. Let me give the monster maker a nice gentle shake and see what lies within. All right, 6, 6. Let's pick up 6. And let me see. Is that your number?
It is indeed.
Excellent. Let me open this up and see what is inside. There is a message. Let me unfurl it. And can you tell me what this message says?
Nastiest food.
Nastiest food. Excellent. So as I refurl this, can you please tell me what, in your opinion, is the nastiest food in the entire world?
I eat mostly everything. But I have to tell you, for my money, I can't do oysters. They gross me out.
Not even blue oysters?
Uh I'll listen to blue oysters, but not eat them. To me, oysters are just snot in a shell. So yes, I will go with oysters.
Excellent. Well, you will get your very own oyster monster, and I will hold off
I
revealing
feel
what.
like that sets you up pretty well. Like that's good material to work with.
Oh, I think so. So, if you would, could you set a 5 minute timer for me?
I
And
can do
we'll
this.
go
I
ahead and
have
get
the
started.
technology.
Yes.
Setting my stopwatch. Are you ready, Monster D?
I am ready if you're ready.
And go.
And go. All right. So, as your monster begins, let me see. Let me ask. So, I know that you have been working tirelessly, or perhaps tiredly, over your eminent album, The Crimson Cult. So, can you tell me what is that thing that you dealt with that was the most frustrating, or that thing that you turned to loathe for a moment, only to get through and finally fall in love with again?
Absolutely. We're a metal band, and we've played through most of our existence as a metal band does, with high gain guitars, and or if you're not a guitar player, that means distortion. The real crunchy guitars, not a clean tone, but a distorted tone, and lots of gain on the bass guitar, even, and modern production with triggers and samples on the drums, like most metal bands use. And in this case, for the Krimson Kult album, we're going for an old school metal vibe, 70s and early 80s, like really old school. All the stuff that I love and the rest of the band loves, that made us metal fans to begin with. So we're talking Black Sabbath, Uriah Heep, Iron Maiden, Merciful Fate, UFO, that kind of era. Kind of roughly from 1970 to 83 was our remit for this album. And in order to get that sound, we're playing different now. We're playing low gain, no, a much cleaner tone. And when you play with a dirty, distorted tone, that extra distortion or extra gain, it does a lot of the work for you as a guitarist. Playing with the clean tone, I have to work much, much harder to get the sound I want, to get the notes I want. And it was a lot of work. We started practicing that way months before we recorded just to get ready. So we've been in rehearsal just moaning about how hard it is and how much it sucks to play on low gain. You know, Jesse's been playing on low gain on his bass too. He's got to hit the strings way harder. And, you know, Chris tuned his drums down so they're a little more deadened. And, you know, it was a lot of work. But while I hated it in rehearsal and I had to work a lot harder in recording, now that we're done, I have come around to love it because I love the tones we got. And the record sounds like my favorite classic metal records that made me love metal in the first place.
Taking it back old school is not as easy as some people would like to maybe think it is, huh?
It's much harder than playing modern.
Can you tell me what was that your first experience with Oysters that set you off to turn you off from it for life?
I know I've tried them at some point, but to me, it's the concept. It's just the concept of a slimy little meatball from the ocean, you know, just a gooey little snot wad picked off the floor of the ocean. Can't do it. Can't do it. I'm sorry. I know people love them, but I can't do it.
You know, a little known secret. I'm well known for having a wide palate, but I actually have yet to indulge in the raw oysters myself. Now, clams, mussels, you know, cooked with some flavor. I've done all of those, but yeah, I actually
I'll do that as well. When I'm talking to oysters, I'm talking about when they come out on the platter and people like are slurp them down.
Yes. Yeah,
No
that eludes me as well. So we are one there at the moment here.
I'll eat almost anything, but the oysters do gross me out.
So, without giving too much away, what do you think will be the most surprising thing about the Krimson Kult to the Legion of Thunder?
There's going to be a few things that the tones on this record are going to be really different, especially if you're only used to listening to modern music. Because, for instance, just let me start with the drums. Normally, in everything we've done in the past, the drums have been recorded on a click, completely gridded out, which means you move things around, which is kind of inhuman. And you put every hit right on a beat or a subdivision of a beat, goes right on a grid line in Pro Tools. And then you put a sample or a trigger on it to make it sound really big. That's not really like how a real drum kit sounds. That's not how a human drummer plays. So for this record, there's no samples. Every hit of a drum you hear is exactly how Chris played it. And when a human being is feeling the energy of a song and they go into a drum fill, they're going to collapse the time a little bit and it's going to come off the grid. And so we're not trying to fix that. And I do put fix in quotes because I don't think that's necessarily better. We're leaving it more human because it has more of a vibe. So that's just one example. That's the drums. The guitars, again, they're going to be way lower gain. They're going to sound more old school. Nina is just Nina, and she sounds like a beast no matter what style we're doing or what we're recording. But it's going to be maybe a shock if you've only listened to, say, modern power metal records or something like that. This is going to sound way different. The breadth of style on the record might be a shock as well because there's some real theatrical stuff on this record. There's lots of classic metal stuff which we're known for, but there's more acoustic guitar on this record than any record we've ever done. There's a ballad. We haven't done a ballad for a long time, and there's a real odd one for us. It's called The Wizard of Crow County. And it's a little southern. I wrote this riff on acoustic guitar for Nina, assuming we'd end up playing it on electric real heavy, and this would be like a doom riff. That kind of thing. But we ended up playing it real soft. We kept it acoustic. Nina comes in with this tale about Crow County down in the South and Christian revival days. And wrote a fantastic lyric. It's kind of a ballad, but it's really different. And it goes from earthy and spooky to big production with organ and a big guitar solo at the end. So that's just one example of an oddball song on the record. There's another one where we actually have a bunch of surf influence on it.
Really?
Surf guitar, doom. It's like Dehumanizer, Black Sabbath meets Dick Dale. With a little, you'll appreciate there's a little Blue Oyster Cult section in the middle with some creepy organ and harmony vocals. There's so much going on, but the number one thing that's gonna, I think, surprise our fans is, the lyrics on this album are, for the first time from us, they're based on the real world. Normally we're in the realm of science fiction, fantasy, horror, history, that sort of thing. But this album is all about our perception of the real world over the last year and a half or so. This is our pandemic /COVID/lockdown album. And, it touches on political issues a little bit, but it's all through the filter of metal. So you're still going to get zombies and wizards and spiders and all that kind of good stuff.
Very, very cool. Well, I look forward to what my mind is now picturing as perhaps your closest approximation to Dial M for Murder from BOC.
I actually listened to that song as a reference before I arranged the harmony vocals for Beach Murder Party, our song.
I have to imagine. So, by the way, and I'm not sure where I am with time.
We're at 8:53.
Oh, okay. So I may or may not have made it because I've actually been done for a while. So here you are, oysterized.
That is fantastic.
Hopefully that does not make you turn too blue.
Well, if I got that at a restaurant, I would definitely send it back to the chef.
Well, that goes into my next question. So imagine, let's just say before the interview here, you triggered a Doordash, and they were on their way. You got the doorbell, and you're so excited for your dinner. You run out there to get it, and you bring it back, and staring at you from the bottom of what should be, I'm not sure, perhaps a grilled chicken bag, is a big old pile of raw oysters. How would you react?
I wouldn't chase down that poor DoorDash man and beat him senseless and make him eat those oysters, but I might fantasize about it. I might retch. There'd probably be a little gag reflex happening.
So let that be a lesson to anyone doing delivery. Do not mismatch any order for raw oysters.
Do not bring any ocean snot to my house, please.
No. All right. So this question is for regarding newcomers. If anyone is just discovering your band now, perhaps through Spotify or something else, they're just getting into you. They missed the boat on the big Kickstarter for the album that you are going through now. What is the best way to support that album and sort of help you along?
Sure. Well, we're completely independent and have been for 10 years. We did have one dalliance with a record label for about a year early on, but for the most part, we've been independent the whole time. And everything we do is funded by our fans. We've done Kickstarters along the way for most of the albums. But every ticket we sell to a show, every shirt we sell at a show, every order that comes through our web shop, that comes in, and nobody in the band takes a salary from the band. All the money that comes in goes directly back into new music. That's how we've been able to do 9 albums now in just over 10 years. That's an incredible pace, and we're so lucky that we've been able to do that. Fans are supporting our creativity and letting us get all these ideas out into the world and all this music. So the way to support us is to go to a soundofthunderband.com and pick out literally anything in the web store. And no matter what you order, it's going to be packed up by a band member. There's free autograph options on everything. Even if you don't choose the autograph option, every order comes with an autographed card, 4x6 card. And every little bit helps, as we truly are 100% independent, 100% fan funded. So we've been able to do a lot with a relatively small amount of fans, and so every single fan counts. So even if you come on and you buy a CD for $10 or something, that's really a big piece of the puzzle for us and helps us keep going.
Excellent, excellent. Yes, I recall whenever we first crossed paths. I believe you were just finishing the Kickstarter for Time's Arrow, and I remember the way I sort of got into that or prepared for that was to just go back and pick up your discography up to that point, which I think was two full albums and a couple of EPs, but certainly was a nice sort of way to whet the appetite for what was to come.
And the catalog has grown quite a bit since then. We keep everything in print, at least on CD. A couple of the vinyls have sold out over the years, but we have everything on CD. We've got a ton of vinyl, and there's, even though the Krimson Kult album number 9 is not out yet, we got 8 previous albums and a bunch of EPs. We've got them available all on CD, most of them on vinyl. We even have a graphic novel that goes with our album, It Was Metal. Our last album, Parallel Eternity, has a whole big book that documents the whole history of the band and photos and essays. So we try to be a catalog band and put interesting stuff out there for people that don't just want to have a playlist with a bunch of random songs by a band, but really want to get into a band and follow a band. That's what we've been trying to do, is build an interesting catalog for big time fans.
Well, I appreciate that, and I believe it or not, there's a stack just beyond eyeshot in the Monster Lair that still has the actual boxes of your Kickstarters stacked, because the boxes themselves are just sort of a treasure chest to behold when you go in. So I laud you because every package that has come to me from you has just been just a treasure to dive into. Like, even though you probably spell out everything or almost everything on the Kickstarter, I still feel like I'm digging through things like, wow, I did not realize I was getting that too.
It's funny, like my mind is like constantly consumed by band stuff, and so for me, I'll be thinking about the Krimson Kult Kickstarter every day until everything is shipped. But in reality, the people that back it, they back it and then they get their stuff several months later. They're not thinking about it every day. So we get the added bonus of being able to surprise people. They might not even remember that it's coming, and all of a sudden, we call it Thunder Christmas. People get a big care package basically on their porch, and we take pride in trying to make those as cool as possible, so that you don't just get like a little bubble mailer with a CD in it, right? You're gonna get some cool stuff, and hopefully the day it arrives and the day you open it up, you're gonna have a good day.
Beyond the album itself, what else do you have to look forward to next?
So much. I veer towards the really creative stuff. That's my favorite part of being in a band. So I'm looking down the road already to the next album. The next album actually is a concept album that's going to tie in with an original comic book series that we're working on. That's underway already, and then that'll be 12 issues of the comics and 12 songs on the concept record, and each issue ties directly to one song. And we've written most of the instrumentals for 9. I think we've written instrumentals for 9 or 10 of the 12 songs. And now that we have comic script being finished, we can work on the lyrics for that, tie everything together really closely, and start working on the vocal melodies, put in track order. So that's what gets my juices flowing. So I'm really looking forward to working on that music. But before that, we've got our first shows coming up. We haven't played a live show since 2019 because of the pandemic. We started playing again, but we were working just on this new record. So we haven't played our live set in forever. We're totally rusty. So we've just started working on the live set again. We've got a really cool set list in progress. New stuff from the new record and a bunch of old stuff that we haven't played for a long time. A couple that we've never played. And our first public show is on Halloween, Sunday, October 31st, at the Pie Shop in Washington, D.C. And it's going to be a fun Halloween show. We're going to be in costume. We're not going to tell people what it is just yet. There might be a theme. I mean, there is a theme for us. We're not sure if we're going to tell people or not. But everybody should definitely come in costume if they want to have a good time on Halloween here's some metal. Be regaled with some metal tales.
Now, when you say the pie shop in DC, would this not be the very same, I guess, pseudo famous pie shop that served, I guess, meat and savory pies that you and I may have once dined upon?
I believe that is in fact the same place. It is on the first floor. It's a literal pie shop, and on the second floor they have a very cool concert venue with a nice stage. They even have a projector behind the stage, so we'll have little visuals going on with the show. And it's a great room with good sound, so should be a good night.
Not only that, but every great once in a while, Sweeney Todd likes to move in next door and compete, I suppose.
I wouldn't eat the meat pies. You don't know what might be in them.
Excellent. All right. Well, I thank you so very much, Josh, for being a guest here today. Thank you for inspiring the, I guess we'll call this the Blue Oyster Josh.
I love it.
Yeah. So thank you so very much. And won't you and everyone at home please stay monstrous?
If you'd like to support our music, you should buy our snot in a shell. D is the saddest